I believe we come into the physical body at one point and we leave it at another point. And the physical body is not who we are. The physical body is just our vehicle. So it, in a way, is the home for now of our consciousness. But in another way, it reflects our consciousness. And our consciousness is who we are, the essential nature of our being. I believe that we are each an energy system. Energy is always flowing through us. And in the balanced and healthy individual, the energy flows freely. When we block the flow of this energy through some decision that we make, then the effect is tension. So we can say that you're inside there and things happen around you, and you decide how to respond, you decide what to think, you decide what to feel, and your decisions can either leave you in balance or they can leave you with tension. If they leave you with tension, you're out of balance. If the tension increases to a level of intensity, then you create a symptom. And the symptom speaks a language, and the language reflects the idea that we create our reality. There are specific tensions in the consciousness that are related to specific symptoms on the physical level. So we're able to read the body as a map of the consciousness, and the key to this map is, in fact, the chakras, these energy centers that exist within the yogic tradition. So each chakra is associated with a particular part of your consciousness and particular parts of your body. And this is what allows us to read the body as a map of the consciousness. So we have 7 chakras, and each chakra represents a particular part of your consciousness. And so as things are happening around you, and you're deciding how to respond, what to think, and what to feel, you're also deciding which chakra to see the situation through. And so you're considering the chakras in a way as valves regulating the flow of energy through the energy system. So we can imagine something like 7 valves of a flute. And as you're deciding how to see the situations around you, you're opening and closing these valves. You're playing your flute, and I can say dancing to the tune that you play. You just want to make sure that none of the valves is stuck open or closed. When a valve gets stuck, that's representing tension in a particular part of your consciousness. And when the tension reaches a certain intensity, that's again where you create symptoms. The idea is that symptoms on the physical level reflect tensions in the consciousness about something happening in your life at that time. If we're looking at something like extreme symptoms, if we're talking about something like cancer, with the idea that everything begins in the consciousness, if someone develops a symptom that could have death as its logical conclusion, that begins with a decision to die. So most people die, either it's just time to move on, or the person is really unhappy about something. With cancer, the person is really unhappy about something. And we get a clue to what they're unhappy about by looking at the location of the cancer. So, for example, if someone has lung cancer, if we're looking at it in terms of the chakras and understanding it with our language of the chakras, we would say that the closest chakra is the heart chakra. And the heart chakra represents the area of relationships. So we would say something happened in the area of relationships. Something happened with someone close to this person's heart. And that can be a partner, a parent, a brother or sister, a son or a daughter, somebody close. And the person who has the symptom then looked at this situation, and in a way they say inside, I don't want to face life with this situation in it, but I don't know how to resolve the situation. So at the moment they make this decision, then that's where the symptom begins. And the symptom is saying what they're unhappy about. The idea is that everything begins in your consciousness. So looking at things from this point of view, you take responsibility for everything happening in your body and everything happening in your life. And if everything starts with your consciousness, it's you who decides what goes on in your consciousness. It's you who decides what you think, and it's you who decides what to feel. And if your decisions have left you with stress that has created a symptom, the idea is that you can make different decisions and release the tension from your consciousness. So you take responsibility, and it's not always easy to look at things from that point of view, but when we do look at things from this point of view, it puts you in the driver's seat. You're able to do something about it. And in that way, when you release the tension from your consciousness, the tension can be released from your physical body too. If we talk about cancer again, if the person is looking at what they've been unhappy about, what the situation has been that they have felt really stressed about, then the healing is not only about releasing the symptom, it's about finding a way to resolve that situation. When a person makes a decision that has the effect of releasing the tension from their consciousness, the release of the symptom can be immediate. It can be instantaneous, but we also are at the effect of our beliefs. Our beliefs create our reality. And so for many people then we need to have a mechanism to release the symptoms. And the mechanism that we use in the body mirror system is working with energy. So people learn to feel energy and direct energy, and therefore they have the ability and the tools to rebalance the energy system, either to rebalance their own energy system or to help rebalance another person's energy system. In order to understand ourselves as an energy system, we can look at something like Killian Photography. And with Killian Photography, if you take a Killian photograph using your hand, it'll show a certain pattern of energy around your hand. If you take a second Killian photograph while you're imagining that you're sending love and energy to someone, it will show a different pattern of energy. So we can see then that what they're taking a picture of is not your hand, it's about what you're doing in your consciousness. And we see that a change in consciousness creates a change in the energy field. And they have quantified this energy field so that if there's a hole in a certain place in the energy field, they say that corresponds to a weakness in a particular part of the physical body. The interesting thing is that this shows up in the energy field before there's ever any evidence of it on the physical level. So if we put all this together, we see a change in consciousness creates a change in the energy field. A change in the energy field happens before a change in the physical body. So we have a direction of manifestation from consciousness to the energy field to the physical body. And when we look at things in this way, we can see that it's not the physical body creating the aura, it's the aura creating the physical body. That what we see as the physical body is the end result of a process that begins in our consciousness. So a person makes a decision, it affects their energy field in a certain way, the result is a symptom. That means, really, the person can just make a different decision that affects the energy field in another way and releases the symptom. And with the body mirror system, when we're learning to feel energy and direct energy, we're able to rebalance the energy field, and when we do that, the effects move in one direction and the person experiences a shift in their consciousness. The tension is released from their consciousness, and the effects move in the other direction and the person experiences a release of the symptom. The speed of the release depends upon their beliefs and how easy it is for them to release the ideas, the decisions that they've made, the stressed decisions, the resentments, the hurts, how easy it is for them to release those and to see things in a different way without those tensions in their consciousness. So usually when I'm giving somebody healing, I tell them the effects continue to move normally anywhere between 3 days and 2 weeks after the healing. So that, in a nutshell, is what we're working with body mirror system. Reading the body as a map of the consciousness to understand the inner cause and finding different ways to release the tensions and to come back to our natural state of balance and wholeness. I got started with working with healing because I had to heal myself. I was told I had terminal cancer. I had 1 or 2 months to live, and I was told this in 1975. And I had to work on myself, and when I began to work on myself, I did it with affirmation, visualization, positive thinking, and understanding more and more about the body-mind connection. And afterwards, the doctors decided they must have made a mistake. I decided this was what I wanted to do now, to share this with other people. One of the side effects of my healing was that I didn't need my eyeglasses anymore. I had been nearsighted for 20 years, and after that I was told that I had normal vision, and for the first time in my life I didn't have a notation on my driver's license that I needed classes to drive. So I got curious about this, and I wanted to see, what did I do right? So I discovered that there were some books in the library about how to improve eyesight, but I was reading them not to see how to do it, but how I did it. And so I had a lot of insight, if I can say that, and realizations about what happened in my consciousness that worked for me. And I started to tell other people about it, and they started giving me their eyeglasses and tell me they didn't need them anymore. And so I put together what I know about the process of improving eyesight in terms of the changes that go on in the consciousness, in terms of the changes that went on in my consciousness, in terms of the things that happen in the visual field in the process of improving eyesight, because it's not always just suddenly I can see. It's people go through a gradual process where maybe sometimes it's more clear, sometimes it's less clear, but they get to look at what's happening in their consciousness when it's more clear and see what is different from what is happening in their consciousness when they see less clearly, so they can use their vision as a feedback mechanism to show them the state of their mind. We are told by beings that we consider evolved that we're unlimited, that we have no limits unless we put them there. And people have been talking about this for a long time, that everything is possible, that essentially it's possible to live without any limits, that we can do anything if we believe we can do anything. And so in terms of healing, in terms of functioning as a healer, the idea is that if the opportunity for healing presents itself to you, then you're capable of doing it. You're never presented with a possibility for a healing that you're not capable of giving. And so working with this idea, it seems to me that anything can be healed. If I have some kind of problem and I go to a healer, I don't want to hear something like, oh, it's karmic, we can't do anything about it. What? And if somebody comes to me as I'm functioning as a healer, I don't want to give them an answer like that. My idea is that we have a natural state of balance, and if there's some kind of symptom, it means there's some kind of tension in the person's consciousness. There's a personality profile that is associated with every kind of symptom, and that means to me that it's possible to release that stressed way of being and return to the way of being in which you're totally yourself. If there's a personality profile that's associated with every symptom, then there must also be a personality profile that's associated with having no symptoms. And that's the real you. That's who we really are. And if there is a way of being associated with having cancer, for example, as I had to look at, there's a cancer personality. If I wanted to get rid of the cancer, I had to get rid of the way of being that created the cancer. So the process of healing implies a process of transformation. And then it doesn't matter what the perceived cause was of the symptom in terms of karma, in terms of ions in the air, in terms of telluric energy underneath the ground. It doesn't matter. If the person didn't have the conditions in their consciousness, they wouldn't have the symptom. So from my point of view, living as a healer, and in my development as a healer, I should have the same casual, positive sense of expectancy to heal whatever comes through the door, whether it walks in, rolls in, gets carried in, whatever it is. And I believe that there are no limits to this. And if I find a perceived limit in my own consciousness, that's homework for me. Then that's something that I have to release in my evolution as a healer. And I understand that all healers go through this process of stepping beyond self-imposed limits. So I guess the essential message in terms of healing, besides the idea that anything can be healed, if symptoms reflect a way of being that is not the real you, that's not who you really are, the idea then is to live your truth, to totally be yourself and acknowledge what's true for you, feel what you feel. We're told that the inner guidance system is our intuition, and if we listen to that, it leads us to success and fulfillment. And this inner voice, it speaks a very simple language. Either it feels good or it doesn't. Everything else is politics. And we're told, do what feels right and don't do what doesn't feel right. And if we don't listen to this inner voice, then the next level of communication is our emotions. We feel more and more emotions that don't feel good. And if we still don't listen, then the next level of communication is the physical body. Then we create a symptom. The symptom speaks a language, and the language reflects the idea that we create our reality. So when we describe the symptom from that point of view, then it shows us the metaphor of the symptom. Instead of saying, I can't see, we say, I'm avoiding looking at something. Instead of saying, I can't walk, we say, I'm keeping myself from walking away from something, some situation that I'm unhappy in. And I'm working with the idea that you have your everyday level of attention up here, and below that, when you don't resolve something, you put it away in a deeper part of your consciousness that we call the subconscious or the unconscious, but we know it as the spirit, the deep part of your consciousness, the real you, the part of your consciousness that is directing your life. And so the idea then is to listen to your inner voice, live your truth, do what you really want to do, don't do what you really don't want to do. And if the values that you've learned from society that you have accepted are taking you away from listening to this inner voice, then you have to get back in touch with your inner voice and live your truth. Be yourself. That's it.